Thank you for being willing to be a consultant for one of our executive directors. Your role is pretty critical because you're walking them through some pain points and some obstacles in the ministry where you can make a difference. You'll be doing this once or twice a month for 3 to 6 months in the way that you both determine you want to meet. And the way it works is that you have a number of sessions. And let me just describe those sessions. So in the first session, what you're doing is stopping yourself and listening to what the challenge is for that executive director. Listen deeply, gain insights and clarity about what they're really struggling with and what might be getting in the way. In the second session, what you're going to focus on and explore are possible next steps, some strategies, some solutions that they can pursue in an attempt to address the painful challenge in their way. It might require at the end of this one that there's some homework that they come back to you with, some solutions that they're going to test out, because on the third session, they're going to come back and they're going to share with you what they're implementing, what they're noticing is working, what's not working, and what steps they could continue to take. The reason I'm wearing the construction equipment is because you are helping construct a great outcome for them, but you're also directing, you're stopping, you're encouraging that executive director to try new things. I mean, this is the messy part of some of the consulting work you do, because the executive directors are so invested in their ministries that it's hard to have things not working. So when you do that, in that third session, you're looking at what are next steps, what's working, what's not working. The final step then is to really debrief with them, take a look at what they've tried over the last 3, 4, 5 months, reflect on what's working and not, assess what they have, and then guide them to the other options that they may have that they may not be aware of. Because remember, you come with some great experience. Now, your approach does make a difference. So I want to give you a few thoughts on what we have found really makes a difference with the executive directors. Listen deeply to them. Paraphrase what you believe they're saying to you. Make sure that you've got clarity in what you're hearing. Pause after they have articulated something to you. Maybe you reflect back what you think they're saying. So it sounds like this is the challenge. Because if you don't hear it the way they intend, or they're not very clear themselves, they can clarify it with you. So you can then provide some advice or wisdom. I would offer pause then too, so that they know that they're being heard and that you can check in with them as to whether or not they're understanding what you're saying. Oftentimes I'll ask, what would be a verbal interpretation, or, what did you hear me saying? And then I listen, and I can either say, that's spot on, that is exactly what I meant, or let me clarify that a bit better for you. Let me do it a little bit differently. The other couple things that you can do is ask if some of your advice or wisdom is a good fit for their ministry. It really is a way of expressing respect for what they bring to the table in the conversation, so that they feel that they're heard, they feel that they're respected. And what you're really doing is developing a trust that you're working together. The other thing is to ask whether or not an idea you may have is feasible for them. Because one of the things that executive directors may not recognize is that they come to your conversations with their own biases and their own limitations and beliefs. And your ability to facilitate around that as to what might be possible when they don't think it's feasible for them is an important part of the process. And then finally, coming with a sense of humility. Even if you've served as a consultant with Amplify in the past, this is a new ministry. And both you and the executive director come with a sense of how can we serve one another? Because it really is an experience for the two of you. It requires both of you trust one another and that you partner well together. So thank you for being willing to consult.